Do things go bump in the night at your house? Do you hear footsteps but nobody's there? With us today, a real live medium. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Diane. With me today are two authors. Thank you so much for joining me. Sharon Bauer, author of Life Eternal, Love Immortal. Love that title. And Petra Nicole, author of Petra's Ashes and The Big Secret. And you two are going on book tour together, which is highly unusual. As a publicist, I'm thinking, why are two authors from two different books going on a book tour together? But you're going to explain that, and it makes perfect sense. Let's start with you, Sharon. You are a medium and a psychic, so a psychic medium.
Yes, yes.
And there are a lot of people who are kind of on the fence. Maybe they're not sure if there's an afterlife. You're sure because you communicate with them.
Yes, I have experiences with them and with their families on both sides of the veil.
Okay, so a lot of people don't know what the veil is.
When you die, you step through a thin veil, which is kind of like a membrane, to be able to explain it. And when you step through that, you're actually on the other side. So we don't get to see you or interact with you anymore because you're gone. But actually, you're not. You're still around.
So we're talking the soul, because the physical body, that's obvious. We know that goes. Yeah. So you're talking about the soul.
The soul.
But it's right. But that person that you've lost and you're devastated over the loss is still with you.
Yes.
So what's the difference between your loved one that's hanging around and a ghost or a angel?
Well, we all have angels around us, and angels are just that. When we come down here, we come down with a guardian angel, a birth angel, and a death angel. And so so if you're born and you don't make it, you go back to the spirit realm with the death angel.
So you should not tick off the death angel, because you don't want him moving in too fast, right?
Well, he leaves immediately once he knows that you're here and you're going to be fine. Otherwise, you're never brought down by yourself. You're always escorted. And so the minute that he knows you're going to be fine, he absolutely leaves. And the birth angel, she's here to make sure that the birth is complete and good. And then she leaves, and so then you're left with your guardian angel.
Well, my mom might argue with that birth angel, because in her mind it didn't go so well.
They have no control over the physical aspect of birthing, but they do want to make sure that that's complete.
Okay. So I do have experiences where I'll see something out of the corner of my eye and I think, oh my gosh, when I'm driving, especially, I think, well, is there a kid there? Or, am I going to hit something? But there isn't anyone there. And I've also had people, somebody's coming up from behind, I hear them walking, and actually the room kind of vibrates, and then no one's there.
Yes.
So those experiences that people have, are you saying that all of those are from your loved ones who are hanging around?
They can be from your loved ones, they can be from your animals that have passed, that have come up, but the majority is from your loved ones. And they're trying to get your attention. They don't want to be forgotten. They want to be remembered. They want to know that they love you. That bond is so real, and there's no breaking of the bond of love.
And they want it, so the purpose is, on a soul level, to let you know you're still loved.
Yeah. Well, their main purpose, real purpose, is that they want you to know that life is eternal, that they're not dead and gone, but they're actually living in what I call the afterlife. So they, a lot of people are afraid of dying and afraid of death, and they just want to make sure that you understand that, no, they're still there.
Well, I have a lot of friends who are religious, and they say, well, when you're dead, you're dead. I don't believe that. I think you go to be with God, and that was kind of like the end of the conversation. That's where they want to end it. But then those of us who do have experiences have a hard time just saying it's over, because
we know better.
We experience differently.
And that is what Petra and I have in common, and why we're touring together is because she's had a near-death experience. I've had many scientists, or because I've been in medicine most of my life, tell me that the only real proof to life being eternal is either through somebody that's experienced near death or somebody that is a medium. And that's why we're together, is because she's had one.
So you can add a richer conversation to the book tours and the book talks that you're giving. And you're also going to be giving workshops. What can people learn from your workshops?
We titled our workshop Perceptions of the Afterlife. And
Okay.
so she gets to be witness to what she perceived in the afterlife. And then I get to give a witness to those that actually come in to communicate with those on this side, their family members. So, we're both rich in experiences.
Well, it's the workshop is Perceptions of the Afterlife and Emotional Energy Work. So I'll be teaching the meditation, and Sharon and I just had this conversation. It was a really cool conversation. So she listened to my meditation CD, which is on my website, and she said, "Oh my God, that is so beautiful." But she knows that people that have, for example, committed suicide and have gotten in touch with her, that it has to do with their chakra systems. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well,
So-
that's a difficult one to talk about because, suicide can carry a lot of guilt and shame and stuff. But I've been aware of what I've been receiving from those that have committed suicide, that they have committed through the chakra. Like if they hang themselves, then there's the throat chakra that they've been dealing with while they're here. So there is.
And for those that don't understand the chakra system, that's an energy. It's where you hold your energy in your body, and there are how many chakras from your crown chakra to your...
Yeah, there are actually a lot of chakras, but let's just talk about the basic 7, which
Okay.
would be the crown, and then the third eye, and the throat chakra, and the heart chakra, and the solar, and then the second and the first. So it's really interesting that Sharon saw with people that had passed or crossed over this way, that was actually a chakra issue. And that's the very thing that I do with emotional energy work, is I help people work through the chakra system and clearing some of those held emotions that are causing people so much grief in life.
So when you say there's a chakra issue, like if somebody hangs themselves and it's the throat, and you say it's a throat chakra issue, how can you translate that into everyday language? Like chakra issue, like, I mean, I'm just going to say real simply, and this could be totally wrong, that people, they don't express themselves because that's where your voice comes from. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm beginning to understand that. I'm still just stepping into this realm of connecting the suicide with the different chakras. So as many readings as I've given, where those that have passed through have demonstrated to me that their emotional time, or their emotions at the time of their passing, this is how they passed.
Well, obviously, there's got to be some kind of an imbalance for someone to take that final step. So that kind of does make sense.
Well, it's actually like this. So if you have a little kid, and that little child is told not to speak, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, the energy wave that is thrown up is stored then in the throat. Oh, don't speak. So a person like that
so it's
could,
like blocked.
it's a block, and the color is blue. That chakra is blue color. Whenever you see a chakra chart, you would see that the throat chakra is blue. And so if you're telling someone not to speak, then they could develop throat cancer or bronchitis all the time, or things connected somehow to the throat.
So stuck energy plus stuck emotions can lead to disease.
Disease. Every disease has an emotional precursor or component. And that's why Sharon sees it, which is to me so fascinating.
And that's a motivation to clean up your emotional house, wouldn't it be?
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
Exactly.
And the thing that I've discovered with my readings is that people, when I talk to those that have passed in the afterlife, they can still carry the same emotion with them. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really? that stays with them?
Yes.
It can.
Wow.
In other words, so if somebody comes through a reading and they want to be forgiven for committing, suicide, when they come through, it's important that the person on this side sees and hears that they have remorse for that, and that they truly want to be forgiven. And then it gives the people on this side an understanding of what this person went through emotionally at the time, because we really don't know exactly at the time that they take their life where mentally they are. But there's that, once that forgiveness, the people on this side say, okay, I forgive him and I understand, then the person on the other side can evolve and can move forward and feel that emotion resolve.
So that's fascinating to know that healing keeps going even after death. We do need to take a short break, so let's pick it up after that.
Thank you.
Stay with us. You're watching and listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Diane. We'll be right back.
Judson Roy is a full-service interior design, staging, and furniture establishment. Located in the heart of Canby, Judson Roy is your complete decorating solution. Whether you're in need of furnishing a new home, updating your decor, or staging a house to sell, Judson Roy will assist you with their experienced sales and decorating staff. Be sure to look at their website, judsonroy.com.
Welcome back to Inspired Conversations. I'm here with two authors, Sharon Bauer and Petra Nicole. They went on book tour together, and Petra's had a near-death experience. Sharon is a psychic medium, so wow, you're getting a lot of content in those workshops and readings that they'll be doing for this book tour, and we're going to tell folks how to find you and get into one of your talks. So Sharon, we were talking about near-death people who have passed and how they want to come back and communicate. You've got an interesting story about the skirt. I want to hear that, but I want to ask you another question first. Are there some, I know, because we've all seen the horror movies and the ghosts and the being haunted. Are there entities or people who have passed who just they have a vendetta, they're angry, they're not going to give up, and you said before the break that they take their emotions, the same emotions that they had with them. So what do you do with that group?
Well,
stay away.
To be blunt, I don't entertain it. I just don't.
So you have a choice. You can block negative energy.
Everybody can.
And we can too.
Yes,
okay.
we can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can eliminate it.
Okay. Yeah. So you have a story, The Skirt.
This is really interesting.
And it's in your book.
It's in my book. A lady comes in for a reading, and she goes to sit down, and she says, first of all, I want you to know, I'm an atheist. And I said, okay. And she says, and I'm agnostic. And I said, okay. And she goes, and I don't believe anything. And I said, okay.
Wow, that's 3.
Yeah. And I said, that's fine. I'm not here to change your beliefs, but I do want you to know that your mother's here. And your mother is telling me some things that would be pertinent to only you. And she's showing me a skirt. Does that make sense to you? And she goes, well, it could, And I said, well, the skirt she wears it every year and embellishes it. And that skirt has been a part of her all of her life. And it's like a ceremonial skirt. And she goes, yes. And I said, and she's told me that you have the skirt. And she goes, oh my gosh, Sharon, I was just talking last night to my girlfriend and showing her the skirt, and that there is a ceremony coming up, and I thought I would wear it. And I said, good, because you just made your mother very, very happy. And she goes, I believe. She goes, you don't have to talk anymore.
Wow.
She goes, thank you. I've waited for years to find out if there is an afterlife, if life really truly is eternal.
So
you confirm that.
So you give, symbols. You literally tell people that their loved one is here, and you give evidence of it, like the skirt. That you're communicating.
Yeah, there has to be pertinent information. So when I first sit down for a reading, they let me know their energy is either male or female. Mm-hmm. Then they will tell me what part in the family that they belong. Husband, wife, son, daughter, and so then I will say, I have a male here. Are you wanting to hear from a male he feels like is a father figure. And then, yes, that's who I want to hear with. And then the father will give me pertinent information that will ring true to them. And so then I'll ask them, do you understand what he's showing me or telling me? And then they can say yes or no. If it doesn't ring true, then I ask the individual on the other side of the veil to give me something else. But we'll probably always go back to what they give me. It's like I told you earlier, I did a reading for a lady, and a woman came through, and the first thing I saw was the color pink.
Yes.
And I asked her, I said, do you understand pink? And she goes, well, can you tell me more? And so I said, well, she feels like she's a female partner of yours. Did you get married? And she goes, no. And I said, she's showing me pink again. Do you sure you don't understand pink? Because she'll keep bringing that up until you see.
Till you remember.
Yeah. And she goes, well, her name was Pink.
Hello.
Yeah. So
It takes a while to jog people's memory, maybe sometimes, doesn't it?
Or the non-believers that want to, test you.
Sure.
And that's fine with
The
me. I don't care.
non-believers.
Well, Sharon actually resolved really 40 years of research on how my mother died.
You did?
Yes.
Wow. That's nice to have closure like that.
I wrote the memoir. 2 weeks later, I met Sharon.
Interesting.
She came to my book signing. She came to my house. The next day we did a reading, and she told me things that no one knew in the world, and she resolved my mother's death.
Wow. That must feel...
For me.
Obviously that must feel, wonderful for you, at least to have some closure. And for you, really all of these people that you're helping in such of an intimate way, yes?
There's real healing. There's real healing. And with the healing of Petra's near-death experience, people get to see, hear, feel, understand, that life is eternal and love is immortal. Now, Petra met with Jesus when she had her near-death experience. We're met with a loving presence. We just are.
And that wasn't the first visit. He kept showing up, having conversations with me about religion.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Wow.
I feel very blessed. I didn't really remember all of it when I was 9. I just remember the presence and the love. And last night we were talking about how do you describe that love, that light that comes into your body, all around you? How do you describe that in our language?
How do you?
It's impossible.
Oh, sure.
It's impossible. It's
And that's why you said you wanted to go back, because that's where you felt at home, which I hear a lot of people say. Even when people are dying, they'll say, I'm ready to go home, and then their loved ones don't understand. They say, you're already home. No, I want, So there is that home
There's that remembrance of home when they're getting ready to cross. They truly have the experience of the remembrance of what it's like, and they're ready. Yeah.
So that can add comfort too, because it's terrible to lose a loved one.
It offers hope
Yes, right.
to the family that's left behind.
That it can be an ongoing relationship. Now people say, I know my uncle was here because a hummingbird came right up to me, or whenever I see a feather, I know it's my grandmother, or when I see a penny. How do you feel about
true.
that?
That's actually true, because there is a connection there that they've made with them, and they will come back and yeah, it's real. They'll do anything they can to get your attention.
So I think the message here is, if you're open to it, you can have a loving, ongoing relationship with those that you've loved and lost, right?
And that's what a medium or a near-death experienced person provides, is the opportunity for you to step back and think, oh my gosh, I remember that. Oh my gosh. So we heighten your awareness to your own personal experiences. And that's what they want. They want you to have your own experience, that life is eternal.
So what happens for people? I know some people who have nightmares, ongoing nightmares, and in the nightmare is someone who has passed. Is there something you can do to help them? Because the nightmare is kind of a bad experience. You wake up and you feel awful. Is there a meaning to that?
I think sometimes there can be, but I also think that there's an emotional attachment that probably needs to be addressed.
Exactly.
Okay.
which is why we decided it was such a fortuitous moment for me to meet Sharon, and her readings are amazing. There are no other words to word to express that. But the emotional issue with people living life with these blockages, and Sharon giving that credibility that it is true, you have to work through these things.
And I think what I hear you both saying is that, and Petrus, you've had a near-death experience, and you fractured your skull, and a long time ago, and that opened up your awareness. Something happened to you.
Knocked me wide into the next.
Knocked you open instead of knocking you out.
Yeah.
Knocked you awake.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
More awake than ever before. I've always had experiences, but you don't. But when people start showing up that you don't know who they are, and you're going, oh my gosh, I've got other people around me other than family members.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the message here is that what you two want to help teach through your workshops and your book talks, and your and coming here, is that you can be open to having an ongoing relationship with your loved ones beyond, and also how essentially important it is to heal emotionally.
Oh, you bet.
And so you can guide people and send them in the right direction to do just that. Because I see a lot of, the silent suffering. That's what I call people. And you can see, you're walking down the street and you go, oh, that person looks terrible, looks miserable. So let's clean up our emotional house, and it will help us prevent disease as well.
Well,
Exactly.
and another thing that comes out of this is people learn what their life purpose is. What their purpose is in life.
Through your readings?
Yes. Well, and also with visiting with a person that's had a near-death experience.
Wow.
A lot of times after the experience, they're a totally different person, aren't they? Aren't you?
Oh, for me, I was going to make a list of what are the signs of someone who had an NDE, a near-death experience. You don't sweat the small stuff.
Right.
You're not afraid of death. No. You're not afraid of dying. You live every day. When I wake up in the morning, my first thought is, today is a good day to die. As I think Chief Seattle said that. And I pretend that it's my last day on earth.
So if
it's my
grasp
last
the
day
moment.
on earth, I don't want to spend it on anything that interrupts the flow of love.
And you're going to not put that bucket list in the bottom drawer.
And then Sharon does the readings, and I do readings. I do the energy work, the emotional energy work, and we're teaching that together. And then I do sacred contract readings. It's based on archetypes. So people can figure out, what are your archetypes? What's actually organizing your life? Who is ruling you? Like, is there something that's in a downward position that lays in the unconscious? We need to bring it into the conscious field. We did a reading last night. So
With a stranger?
No, we did a sacred contract
I
reading.
saw you on Facebook at a restaurant. I'm going, hey, come on, sit down. Let's get to the bottom of this and open you up. Anyway, okay, so people can go to patronnicole.com/book tour, and they can find where you're going to be and when, and they can come to the tour and get a reading and have a workshop and learn a lot and have the opportunity to look at your books.
Yeah.
Plus, you can go to SharonBauerMedium.com on the website, because I also have that on my website.
Okay, great. SharonBauerMedium.com if people want.
Yep.
Well, this might make a lot of people want a reading to tap into that loved one that they miss.
And then we just got the good news that the bookstore in Portland, New Renaissance, is going to sponsor us for a book tour. And
Oh, very good.
So
Okay,
that'll
let
be
us
on
know
the
about
calendar.
that.
We will.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both for joining me today. We're out of
Thank you
time.
for having us.
And thank you, audience, for tuning in once again to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Diane. Go to dianetv.com for blogs, and you can see all of these shows there. Thank you so much.